And let's get more on the Trump cabinet shuffle part two with my guest tonight. Catherine Swartz from Notice is up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Catherine, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so this is always, anytime you have a change in administration, there's always the jockeying for position. These picks have come in fast and furious from President-elect Trump. Right now, they've been received in different ways. Marco Rubio on the one hand, then you have Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. What's been the vibe on Capitol Hill?
Yeah, most of these appointments have been flying a bit under the radar or a clear appointment process through the Senate. But there's four main ones that are having some trouble in the Senate right now. You've got Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. That really centers around this ethics investigation and whether or not that will be released. Most senators that I've spoken to do want to see that be released. But Speaker Mike Johnson over in the House is fighting against that. Then you have Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence. You've got some senators, especially defense hawks, who are a bit nervous about that appointment. Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary for a lot of the same reasons with Gabbard. And then, of course, you have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Secretary of Health and Human Services. That's getting some pushback from senators as well.
And for different reasons, obviously, in all of those cases. And clearly, when it comes time for confirmation, sometimes if you're in the minority party, as the Democrats are, you're going to have to accept that there are some picks that you don't like that are going to sail through. And you are going to have some bipartisan support. It looks like in some of these cases, the likes of John Fetterman had said, when it comes to somebody like Marco Rubio, for example, he might be inclined to support that nomination. That's sort of how the game is played. But I'm curious, as we move forward from this point until January 20th, do you get the sense that the surprise picks are out of the way? Is it going to be more standard from here on out, or is it anything goes?
Well, really anything goes. We don't know what to fully expect from these appointments, especially how different they are from the appointment process back in 2016, when Trump was first, picking cabinet for his first term. So there's a lot we still don't know about these, but certainly Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, as I mentioned, are the ones that everyone around here in the Senate was kind of waiting on bated breath, that there's going to be some appointments that really get some eyes and that have a very contentious battle for appointment. These are the ones we've seen so far that are getting that attention.
And obviously, the Democrats still have the gavel in the Senate for just a little while longer. But the president-elect had said he would like to see some of his nominations installed as recess appointments. Mitch McConnell has said he does not see that happening. Rick Scott, who wanted that soon-to-be majority leader position, said he would like to see that happen. So where does this stand? Is that a possibility as we get ready to see a change in power?
Well, Senate Majority Leader just appointed John Thune, who is replacing Mitch McConnell. He had said, along with John Cornyn and Rick Scott, like you mentioned, that really all options are on the table. So Thune has reiterated that that option's still open. However, when I talk to senators, it's really the inclination that this would be kind of a last resort. Some are completely against it, like moderate Republican Susan Collins. She has said, I do not want to see this. Others are open to it, but I just really want to point out, when it comes to these recess appointments, you need to be in recess for 10 days. So if recess appointments do happen again under the Trump administration, that's 10 days at the minimum that you're losing from the agenda, from the first 100 days, from the momentum to keep things moving. So in that way, some senators are reluctant to do that just because of the time that would be lost for legislating.
If somebody's installed in a recess appointment situation, is there a time limit in the duration they can serve, or is that as good as a standard Senate confirmation process?
No, it's not the same as a standard confirmation process. So it's a temporary appointment lasting about a year. So it's really done just because the confirmation process, we've seen year after year, it becoming a longer process. I mean, so many of President Biden's appointments have just stalled, not because they're necessarily divisive appointments. Keep in mind, judges have these votes that have to be taken as well. A lot of these appointments don't get attention, but there's just such a backlog constantly in the Senate of these appointments and these votes, and only so many votes that can happen, that sometimes this process just takes a very long time. So that's really the incentive to get them moving, even if it is a temporary appointment. But again, those recess confirmations do not have the same scrutiny.
Last thing I want to ask you: there's always videotape. There's always a soundbite that a lawmaker may be forced to defend or justify. Markwayne Mullin, the senator from Oklahoma, at one point had said some things about Matt Gaetz on the House floor, making some allegations against him. He has been questioned a bit after the Attorney General nomination. He seemed to have backed off on a lot of those statements, saying that he would keep an open mind. Do we get the sense that that's how many in the Republican caucus might be moving ahead through this process?
Yeah, one of the main things that's really key to look at is, how much are senators looking at both the personality, the history, and the policy differences from Trump that these cabinet appointments have versus wondering, will they just fall in line with the Trump agenda? As a cabinet secretary, as an appointment, you are serving, you're at the pleasure of the president. Yeah. So what I'm hearing from a lot of senators is just, even if they don't support them completely, they're hoping that they'll fall more in line with the Trump agenda.
We shall see. Katherine Swartz, thanks for joining us tonight. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
And the Final Five is back after this.